Good morning and welcome to Church at Home with Rachael from Monday, the 28th of June. As I said on Friday, I would let you know who our new Bishop-elect is, and I ask your prayers for Stephen London, our Bishop-elect for the Diocese of Edmonton. He will be the 11th Bishop of Edmonton, and I ask your prayers for his wife, the Reverend Stephanie London, and their children, and for his parish as they enter into this time of transition. Today, I would like to talk to you about summer and what this summer entails or what it holds. I was talking to a parishioner who is not quite a teenager, I think, yet, and he doesn't have exams. He's still in public school, so his last day of school will be tomorrow, Tuesday, and I got thinking about him and what school has looked like for him and for his sister who's in high school this past year and a half, and realizing that there is a great responsibility that has been placed upon the adults in our country this summer as we begin opening up. There has been a lot of talk about the need for the economy to boost the economy, get reopened, and Canada open for business and Alberta open for business and things like that. And that's all wonderful and good, and I agree with that. However, there is also this Delta variant that's floating around, and people are concerned about it because people have been getting sick even though they've been fully immunized. So the question becomes, how do we act responsibly when we are so tired of being locked up in this pandemic? When Alberta becomes fully open on Thursday, 100% everything, go for it. Not sure what the mask mandate will be. Although I did hear over the intercom at Walmart the other night that Walmart in Wainwright will be insisting that you must wear a mask when you come into the store or you won't be allowed in. So good for Walmart. Don't normally say that, but good on you, Walmart, for that. My concern is that if we go crazy this summer and just go, we've had a year and a half of pent up energy and frustration and needing to get out there and to be in society and to see people and go camping and do things like go to the Calgary Stampede or do big, wonderful, things in group, big barbecues and parties. What happens if in our exuberance to reclaim life, we forget that we need to still be safe and we need to pay attention to the fact that this virus has not gone away. It hasn't just died. It's being more in control, and the more people get vaccinated, the better. But there is still a possibility that we could get sick or we could pass it on to someone else. And in recognition that all of those children in our country under the age of 12 haven't been vaccinated. And just because they're small and they're silent as voters, they're not able to express their needs and concerns, it means there's a bigger responsibility for the rest of us to pay attention. And I got thinking about this young man and about how excited he is to be playing hockey again. And I imagine he'll play baseball with his friends and he'll be going out. His sister will go out with her friends and swimming and all of those wonderful things that kids love to do for the summer, which is wonderful. But what happens if, because we are so over exuberant and not as careful as we should be, what happens if next year's school year is also impacted? What if these kids end up back online and teachers are pulling their hair out because they're now trying to teach online as well as teach their own kids at home and all of those things? These are children right now, say, taking a look at, for instance, kids who started grade 9 in the fall of 2019. So when this all began, the pandemic began, it was after Christmas into the spring term of their grade 9 year, and a lot of kids lost significant amounts of teaching and experiences of being socialized and all of those things in their grade 9 year. And then grade 10 was pretty much a gong show too. In and out of school, what are they doing? What are they not doing? Not being able to be with friends, being able to be with friends, all these things. If they then also get into grade 11 and find that come September or October, we've hit a fourth wave, especially with this Delta variant, we now have kids who will have spent 3 out of their 4 years of high school, or in Alberta, I think it's 10, 11, 12, so all 3 of their high school years in of their high school years, having been learning in a different manner, not getting the things that the rest of us all just took for granted as being those high school years, the halcyon days of high school. What will this look like 10 years from now? When these kids are done university, if they're ready to go to college or university with what education they have been able to glean, the question becomes, have the universities and colleges been adapting to this, recognizing that the graduates coming out of high school this year are not going to be nearly as prepared as traditionally, nearly as prepared as previous years? What are we giving to our children? What will happen when 10 years from now they begin having children and getting ready to send them off to school? Will there be a sense of what education can be? Will there be a brand new way of being educated? I don't know. But it all begins, I think, with the way that we handle this summer. On July 1st, Alberta is about to go wide open for business. And I am right there at the front of the line to say, hallelujah, I am so tired of this. We moved here last August, and I don't know the names of any of my neighbors. We wave and say hello to the people directly beside us, but I've never even been within 10 feet of the people across the road or the neighbors down the street. I wouldn't know them if I saw them downtown or at Walmart at all. Getting to know my parishioners. I still don't know people. I'm still struggling to figure out who people are. Maybe they know me because of church online, but I'm still struggling to get to know them, even to know their faces, let alone what makes their world go round, what pride they have in their grandchildren, what hopes they have for retirement, what fears they have about life. All of these things, I'm looking forward to getting to know them. I'm looking forward to the world opening back up. But what happens if we open up too fast? I am reminded, pardon me because I think I'm going to sneeze. See if I could, excuse me. I'm reminded of that pendulum swing. You know, we talk about things like women's issues or something, and women were like subverted for so long that when the women's lib sort of started up, the pendulum swung so far. Women were burning bras and demanding things, and causing great consternation in the world because what are you doing? And then the pendulum goes the other way, and there's some backlash. We saw a period of time where women were actually angry about all that was happening, and you didn't do it the right way, and we had a second wave of women's lib, and what they did, what Gloria Steinem did back then wasn't the right way to do it. We're going to do it this way. Eventually, we come back. The pendulum comes back into that place where we find a gentle, or hopefully more gentle, equilibrium. That place where we can all sort of find some rhythm and some peace, where the boat is still rocking a bit, but it's not crashing back and forth. That pandemic has hit us so hard. The pendulum went flying to the left, and we all locked down, and we all made sourdough bread, and we learned how to sew, and we online schooled our kids, and we learned how to do online church and all those things. I'm a little bit afraid that once everything opens up in Alberta, Ontario, wherever it might be, that pendulum is going to go so far the other way that we're going to cause problems, that we're not going to pay attention to the gentleness that is needed. I think it's kind of like when someone has been starving. When you find someone who hasn't eaten for days and is starving and they need water, if you let them drink too much water or eat too much food right away, they gorge themselves and make themselves sick, quite possibly just as sick as they were before, but in a different way. If you gently give them some water to drink and some food to eat, they begin to be nourished, and their body begins to recuperate, and then they can take on more and more and more. But we have to do it gently. My concern is that we aren't going to do this reopening gently, and our children will suffer. We'll all suffer. So something just to think about and pray about is, how are you, as our provinces open up, as Alberta opens up, how are you planning on reintegrating into society? Please give some serious thought to doing it gently, one toe in the water at a time rather than diving in. We want people to be safe. We want to find our new normal, but that can't happen if we go so crazy the other way that we make each other sick again. So just some thoughts about summer and reopening. Have a good day. It's going to be a scorcher here in Wainwright, so please stay in if you've got air conditioning, or keep your fans going. If you're going to go outside, stay in the breeze. If you can find one, stay in the shade. Drink lots of water, stay hydrated, and take good care of yourselves. And I will see you again tomorrow for Church at Home with Rachael.